Another episode of TeeVo and the Beard.
I know you can't see it, but I'm TeeVo, and that's the beard.
Today we're going to talk a little bit more about what TeeVo is going to be doing when he goes to Dragon Con. But first, we want to start by breaking the ice a little bit. This time, I've got a question for you, TeeVo.
All right.
Besides our wonderful podcast here, what other shows do you listen to?
I actually don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I love the idea of people doing them, but it's hard for me to kind of really grasp some because there are things I like, of course,
Right.
And truthfully and honestly, sometimes I don't want to hear what other people think about it.
I can definitely understand that, yeah.
Just because, I'm pretty set in how I think about certain things. I don't really need to be swayed to dislike or like something.
Right.
So there's just too many out there because it's a free medium, and that's why we're doing it. And
anybody can do it, obviously.
Anybody can do it, and that's just a lot. So I don't watch a lot or listen to a lot, but main one I listen to is Kevin Smith's Batman on Batman.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I just like Kevin Smith. Don't like everything Kevin Smith does.
Right.
Hence why he's got 4 podcasts. Only really listen to one. I think that one's a pretty good mix. It's
I've tried listening to his Smodcast before, and it didn't really jive with me.
Yeah, exactly. Or I think he does another one with Jason Mewes sometimes, which is fun, but I don't really go out of the way to listen to it.
Yeah.
Batman, I have on my queue ready to listen to, and it's not there are episodes when he talks about stuff that I don't care about, so I don't listen to it. He did a Game of Thrones one, which I don't watch Game of Thrones, so naturally I'm not going to listen to what he thinks about Game of Thrones. And even in certain episodes when he's talking about stuff The Flash recently, I disagree with the feelings on The Flash compared to his, so I didn't really listen to it.
Right.
The other one...
That's right there, though, to interrupt you for a minute. That's one of the things I do like about the podcast medium is the fact that The Nerdist is one of the ones I listen to.
Right.
I have not listened to every episode. I will not listen to every episode because some of them just don't interest me. But you're not going to miss anything in the next episode by skipping, 1, 2, 10 of them.
Exactly. And the only other one I really listen to is the JV Club, Janet Varney's podcast.
Okay.
It's basically Janet Varney, who was the voice of Korra in Legend of Korra. Met her once at a con. Really nice.
Okay.
Actually, she's the one that told me about this. So if you're gonna hear about a podcast from someone, let it be from the person. But she said she has this podcast, and she basically gets various guests, whether it be people you readily know or people you don't know, and the topic is embarrassing teenage stories.
Okay.
And, again, don't listen to everyone, because, while Janet Varney is a lovely lady, guests do matter.
Yeah.
So if I don't know...
Especially for a show like that.
If I don't know who you are...
Yeah.
I'm not really going to want to hear your embarrassing high school story. But she's had, people... I like before, so it's worth listening to. Other than that, that's really the only two I really gravitate towards.
Okay, I'm not going to go down the whole list of ones that I listen to.
Top
because
3.
It is pages. Top 3. Well, I've got to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Mark Gunn, with the Irish and Celtic Music Podcast.
Awesome.
He does a few other ones also, but that one's been going on for 11 years now.
Wow.
And I think it's just as strong now as it was when it started, if not stronger.
So he really paved the way.
Yeah. He was one of those first people before they even had the name podcast. He had
what was it called before?
I'm not sure. I think it depended on who.
See, I always think before the days of the word podcast, it'd be people who sit in their basements and do the really low talk,
like the NPR type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of that, The More You Nerd is another one that I listen to. It was a group it was 2 guys who, when they first started, had kind of that NPR sort of sound to it, but talking about geeky things. Then it went to 4 guys, and now it's 3 guys. But they take weekly challenges from their listening audience, and it's all about geeky, nerdy things, whether it's comic books, movies, video games, anything like that. I definitely recommend them. And one of the more recent ones that I have listened to every episode of is called Rude Tutors. And it's these two female hosts, and they talk about things from the Renaissance period, which doesn't grab a lot of people right at first, but then what they do is they connect it into what's going on now, whether it be pop culture or something. They don't really get political, which is one thing I appreciate about all the shows I listen to. None of them are political shows.
Yeah.
But they do like make comparisons to things that go on nowadays, or things going on in movies and stuff like that, and you realize how similar things are nowadays. But yeah, I highly recommend them also. Most of these you can find at the website matches what the podcast name is. So like
we should save this question for the fellow we call Mike. He's a big podcast.
Oh, definitely.
Actually, he just like you, he probably has pages, so he's probably gonna have to narrow it down to like top 3.
So the one we call Mike, if you're listening, we need you back on here. We can have just a podcast about podcasts.
I believe he is also going to see that new movie Don't Breathe. So
okay,
if you listeners would like a spoiler review of it, because I'm not gonna go see it, and I don't think you're seeing it anytime soon.
Yeah.
So we both can be the. What's
going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got to say though that as much as I enjoy Rude Tutors, I mentioned them in a very selfish way because I want to lead into a little self promotion here. Yes. Last week we talked about movies and theater a little bit. I've actually been cast in Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew.
And do you play?
I play Bianca. No.
Awesome.
Awesome, right, yeah. The beard is not going to throw my suitors off at all. No, I play the father character, not barista. That's who I get my coffee from. Baptista, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Right.
At first,
you just offended so many Shakespeare people.
I did, and you're welcome. You can have coffee and Shakespeare. In fact, normally I have like a Diet Dr. Pepper, but I've got coffee today. So this episode's been sponsored by coffee because crack's not legal.
Coffee. Everybody has one.
And if you don't, go get one. So let's start talking about Dragon Con a little bit here. Sadly, I don't get to go, but TeeVo does.
And what an unfortunate thing, because we would have done it live at Dragon Con episode.
100%, and guests and everything.
Well, hopefully, oh my god.
Hopefully. I'm sure we could get somebody to talk to us.
I would have wanted Brett Dalton so bad.
Oh, my wife wants Brett Dalton so bad.
Probably in a different way than we're talking, thow.
Both ways, really.
Both.
She thinks she actually does admire him for his acting abilities and all that, and she even wants him to be in. I think it's called Uncharted. Is the game they want to make a movie?
Yeah,
yeah. She's even voting for him to be in that. She knows nothing about the game.
Well, I don't see why he can't.
Oh yeah, no.
But yes, Dragon Con. What questions do you have? What questions do you want to ask?
Well, first do a 30-second recap again about what Dragon Con is, in case people are
Dragon Con is one of the biggest comic conventions on the East Coast. Happens in Atlanta, Georgia, every year during Labor Day weekend. What I like
for about 30 years now, right?
It's 30th anniversary this year, and what I like about it is that it's spread across like a few blocks of downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
So unlike a lot of other cons where they take up a big convention center, or maybe a convention center and another building, Dragon Con encompasses 5 hotels.
Okay.
And it's just spread out. Still a lot of people, but you're not feel like you're just congested in one room, depending on which one you're at.
Right.
As many comic conventions, you see a lot of great cosplayers, a lot of great guests. I have a good time because I want to meet the guests.
Right.
Like if you're telling me all I have to do to meet Charlie Cox is to pay admission and I can get his autograph, I'm just like, why have I not been doing this before?
Right, yeah.
So that's why I go. And I also like to say, I appreciate everybody who goes there, because there is one thing for everything. While I go for the guests, and purely that's it, there's so much more.
Right.
And you really can't. Like, I have friends who don't care what celebrity is coming. They just don't care. They go for board gaming, right? I know people who go just for cosplaying.
Okay.
Or there are people who just go for the nightlife.
I've heard there's quite a few parties there. Some of them
I would not
kid friendly.
I would know. I'm not a party person, so naturally that's just not where I'm at. And plus, by the time night comes, I've been there all day.
Right.
And what I want is gone.
Right.
For the night. So, there's just not as much there for me. But there is for somebody. And that's what I like about it. It's not just the traditional you think of, like, when old TV shows would like show Star Trek conventions,
Yeah.
It's not just a bunch of sad, nerdy people,
And it's not themed around one thing.
No, and actually they also yearly they try to do not just one thing, but they try to get certain guests from like certain shows to spotlight them. Like I remember one year it was like the anniversary of Power Rangers, so they got a lot of Power Rangers people, and this year they got the top 3 people from iZombie. They just alternate, but it's always, it's not like it's the Star Trek year.
Right.
It's the Power Rangers year. It's just, this is happening. We have these guests, and that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm very jealous about a lot of the guests that are coming this year, besides like William Shatner, of course. You have
Brett Dalton.
You have Summer Glau and Alex Kingston, so you have the 2 rivers.
Yes.
You have Karen Gillan.
I think it's just Gillan.
Gillan?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Amy Pond is the main thing I know her as, like most Doctor Who fans.
Right.
But then, not only that, as far as my personal fandoms go, you have, like, Hal Lublin and Cecil Baldwin from Welcome to Night Vale, another podcast I listen to. You have a friend of mine is actually going to be performing music there, Mark Gunn.
He does that a lot.
Yeah, with the Brobdingnagian Bard, so a little shout-out to him there.
I think, he does that every year, I believe.
Yeah, for the past...
at least for as long as I've been going.
6 years.
Yeah, for as long as I've been going, which has been since 2012. I remember always seeing his name in the program.
Yeah.
So
now you've got to go see him. Yeah. So let's say you're listening to this podcast. Right. Dragon Con is interesting you.
Right.
I believe tickets will still be on sale by the time
they are always
we post
on
it.
sale.
Yeah. Now they go... The closer it gets to the convention, the higher the price.
Yeah,
goes.
If you want to go and you just decided right now, I think unfortunately the 4-day pass, the all-inclusive weekend pass, I think they're sold out. I think.
Okay.
But
still worth checking.
If it is on sale, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Because they've gone up in price. Like a lot of things in life, they've gone up in price. The bigger it gets. Day passes are still, on sale. Friday and Saturday is probably going to be your most expensive day.
Right.
Sunday is a pretty fairly, inexpensive for what's there. Monday's going to be cheap, but Monday usually a lot of people leave.
Yeah, but Monday's also when William Shatner is going to be there.
So. Well, not everybody, but just generally that's when.
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way. In the Marriott Hotel on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can't walk around. You can't even see the carpet. You can't hear yourself.
Wow.
I remember one year I went on a Monday and I was like
a ghost town.
It was a little bit It was kind of like, a very fun way to describe it. It's like it was like the fantasy coming to a close. Okay. Because you see all these people in these costumes, and people so excited. And then Monday, you see the exact same people rolling suitcases out the door, and you see that they're sad.
So the veil has come down.
Exactly.
And reality is back. Yeah.
While it's still going on, and there's still panels on Monday, you can still meet certain guests on Monday. Right. It's just like you just see. It's just a different environment, but you can still go.
Right. Now, if somebody buys, a day pass, weekend pass, a couple of day pass, what does a regular pass get somebody?
Get you anything. There is no...
Well, I mean, it doesn't get you, like, free food or...
Okay, well, that's just... Well, as far as, like, what the con entails, you can get to any panel. Unlike most conventions I've been to, where they really get you by getting the VIP pass, where you can get in line first. Or you have special seating at the panels. Right. Dragon Con doesn't do that. So that's a perk I like. You pay it, and as long as you get there in time, if you get there first, seat's yours. If you get to that, the actor's table or the artist table or writer's table first, it's yours.
Okay. So very first come, first serve all around.
Very first come, first serve. And they mean it.
Okay.
Because, they say first come, first serve, but the VIP passes go first.
Right.
And if they trickle in, no matter how long you've been waiting, they go first. So they don't.
So if you want to go to the dark matter panel and see that cast, and you're at the door at 8 a.m. or whatever, you're getting that front row seats.
Well, it depends on what time it starts.
Well, hypothetically, it started like at 8:01.
Yeah. Well, if it starts at 8, you better get there before that.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, they don't let you camp out. So like, if the panel starts at 1. I mean, you can hang around in the vicinity, but you technically are not in line till like I think an hour before.
Okay.
So you should keep watching.
Is this like a told thing though, or do you need to go in there knowing?
What?
Do they like tell you this kind of information? Or do you need to know that?
Actually, you know what? Exclusive information right there.
Okay.
They do not tell you until you are so excited to get there early.
Yeah.
And they say, no, you cannot form this line yet.
So when it's 7 a.m. and you're waiting for a 1 o'clock panel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go do something else.
Yeah.
Come back at like, say, 10, 11, and kind of gauge the line, hang around, before then.
So start stalking the area.
Yeah, but you cannot technically start the line.
Okay.
Because, there's other panels going on from that amount of time to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So, they want to preserve the space so that, there's not like 50 lines going on for something that's happening tomorrow.
Now, besides the actual Comic-Con stuff, just to prepare people for what they, need to expect. Yeah. I know Atlanta has tons of restaurants, fast food, local restaurants, stuff like that.
It is Atlanta.
Is there anything within the con itself?
I'm a sucker to like mall food courts.
Okay.
I don't know why, and I know the food's not great ever.
Right.
But it's just, I don't know, it's like almost a novelty to me.
Yeah.
There is a food court, like a mall type food court in where the vicinity of Dragon Con. You can go do that. There's Hard Rock Cafe. There's Starbucks. There is a Benihana.
No.
There's a Hooters. There's a fried chicken place.
So about everything. Really.
About everything. Yeah. Though I wouldn't probably eat at those places because, they tend to hike up prices during Dragon Con. Because why not?
Right, yeah. Good to know that.
I mean, why not?
Right.
I would say if you really are hard up for food, pack bologna sandwiches or something.
Okay, so they allow stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's a Moe's, too. You can eat the Moe's. Moe's is fine. But just overall, if you're hard up on money, I'd say pack your own food.
Do you know if they have any stipulations? Like, I assume no alcoholic beverages.
Not that they can see it.
Right. Yeah.
don't make an ass of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
But
don't ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. Don't ruin it for everybody. If you have it in a flask, just take one swig and go.
Yeah. If you brought your mother's milk.
Yeah. Exactly. But let's see. What else does it entail? I will say, like, if you're going to Dragon Con, be aware there are lots of peddlers, lots of homeless people. You are in downtown Atlanta. Yeah. And funny story, I went to the Dragon Con area once when I was not Dragon Con. And I was like, wow, I'm a little more scared of this place. The amount of homeless people and just it was not the same environment. So, rest assured, it's a great area to be. But just the ever classic, I would say this to anybody. Just know where you're at.
Right, yeah. Don't go wandering at 2 a.m. off the beaten path.
Exactly.
Yeah. So use common sense when you're there.
I would tell that to anybody.
Yeah. Which, let's segue. All
right.
What are some, tips, besides, safety and stuff like that, and, possibly packing food? What are some tips you would give a first con goer?
I'd say, I do have a tip. One of them, again, if you're hard up on food, there is broke con goers tent where they actually do offer refreshments and free sandwiches.
Okay.
I think they're just peanut butter and jelly, but I mean, anything helps.
Yeah. If you're hungry, you're hungry.
I don't know where it's at. I have a couple friends that usually know where it's at. Just know that's around.
Yeah.
So,
but that's people doing it themselves. That's not the con providing.
I don't think it's the con doing it themselves.
Okay.
I did go 1 year and it didn't look very con sanctioned, but I don't think they mind,
Right. We just don't want to give people the wrong idea.
Yeah, I think the last time, if anybody's listened to it, it was in the Hyatt. So, depending, someone might know. Check it out if you're that hungry. Or if you want to splurge, there's, again, great place to eat, restaurants, in hotels. So, that's that. Let's see, another tip.
What about I assume with all these bodies in there, it can produce a certain earthy musk to it. Have you experienced that?
Yes. That does happen, the stereotypical
Con smell.
con smell.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You get over it. Just make sure you smell good, depending
Right.
on what you want to do. So, like, I don't want to stink for Rose McIver.
Right, yeah.
That's the last thing I would ever want to do around Rose McIver.
So you just bring the whole can of deodorant and spray yourself.
Oh, yeah.
down.
Oh, exactly. So personal hygiene, take care of yourself. You can't help what other people do. Just take care of yourself. I usually have a backpack and I don't carry like, meals with me.
Right.
I usually have like granola bars and candy and little bottles of water because, like I said, your Dragon Con encompasses a few blocks of, downtown, and depending on what you want to do, like for me, I want to see guests, I want to see panels. They're not always in the same building, so you're trekking, from hotel to hotel. And, it could get hot. So, again, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
For anybody listening that has similar interests to me, so as any convention, there are the celebrity photo ops.
Right.
Which is essentially you go to a photo booth and that there is the person you want to see and you take a picture of them. For first timers, that is not like a ticket to talk to them, get an autograph. Tell them your life story. And
this is the one with the professional photographer,
yes,
right? Okay.
It's not, because the first time I went, I wanted to meet James Marsters. And someone said, well, you can get a picture with him like this. I was like, what? That is amazing. And I remember getting in line, and he was standing right there, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I didn't know there was this thing called the Walk of Fame at Dragon Con where it's the room where they sign autographs, and you can get a picture in there. And it's a lot cheaper than the professional ones, and you can talk to them. So for anyone that wants to meet guests, that's trying to save some money, don't take the professional photo ops.
Yeah, because I looked on the website. Some of those are very pricey, like $100, $150.
Yes. The only stipulation is certain people only do those. Okay. So, like, you want to meet Shatner, you want a picture with Shatner, it's the only way you're going to get a picture with Shatner. Everybody else usually, and it's always on their discretion. So they can't ever predict, like, if they're going to do it. It's always if they want to. Okay. But generally they do. I hope this year they do too as well.
Now, for the Walk of Fame that you mentioned, is there... I know that some of them charge...
For anybody that wants to know, that's where you will definitely find me.
Right. Yeah. Always. If you're looking for TeeVo, just go straight to the Walk of Fame.
Again, like I think I said last week, I was like, I'll let the people I want to see in this room. So why would I not be in there?
Right, yeah. Now, I assume that your ticket covers, walking through the door, but as far as, like, getting autographs...
you fortunately have to pay for those.
Okay.
Which is... to me, it's standard business.
Right.
A lot of people kind of wonder, what? They charge you to take a picture with them? Well, yeah.
They're providing a service.
I mean, sure, I could get a picture free with them given the right circumstance, but this was not one of them.
Right, yeah.
But, it's the ever classic, just treat them how you want to be treated.
Right, because they are people.
They are people, and if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you, and if you're not, well, they'll be very fake nice to you. Like, I remember one year, I was in line to meet Ralph Macchio, and this guy in front of me was, like, really demanding, asking him to do poses that Ralph Macchio is not known to do, like a Darth Vader pose. You could tell Ralph Macchio probably wanted to punch this guy.
Yeah.
And it was that nice moment afterwards when I got in line. I was like, yeah, I'm not making you do any of that. I don't know what that guy's problem was. He's like, I know, right?
So, yeah, just when you meet these people, go up, tell them how you appreciate the work if you have any questions. But you want to keep it short and sweet, I assume.
Yeah, because, depending if that person has a line.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if
use common sense.
Yes, please. By God, please, common sense. There are a lot of people who don't use common sense. Like, you got people who will be that self-empowered, like, I'm paid to get here, and I'm paying you for an autograph, so you will listen to every word I will say. And it's like, yeah, well, so do we.
Yeah.
But yeah, use common sense. If you're the only person in line, by all means, they will probably talk to you as on
right
as you earthly want to. But if there's like 50 people behind you,
don't be that guy
don't be
or that
guy.
girl.
Yeah. And there always will be. So if you're listening, talking to you.
Yeah. We judge you.
I do. I do.
It's and rightly so. I mean, it's like any sort of line, sort of etiquette.
Last year they did a really huge thing for Lost Girl, and they got pretty much the whole cast minus like 2 people.
Okay.
And I was in line to meet Anna Silk, who is the title Lost Girl.
The Lost Girl, yeah.
I think it was the first time she had ever been to Dragon Con, so I was so surprised. Like, her line daily was like at least 200 people.
Wow.
Like, average. So naturally, I told her exactly what I wanted to tell her, and then I got the hell out of there.
Right, yeah.
And then I went to see the other Lost Girl people who were not as busy.
Now, if you're not getting an autograph or a picture, you can still
talk to them.
Meet and greet.
But again, it's the ever classic use common sense. Like, know that they're there and they're hoping to get paid.
Right. Yeah.
So just use that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them will be glad to say hi and talk to you and answer questions. Don't be hurt if they're not.
Right.
Like, I remember one year I met Brent Spiner. Couldn't care less that I wanted to say hi.
Right.
I think he wanted me to buy an autograph, which I did not want an autograph, but I just wanted to say hi. So just don't get your feelings.
Yeah, because again, they are people, and they have not everybody who is in the spotlight, craves that, little tiny attention.
Exactly.
And stuff. Yeah.
So you can totally say hi all you want, but just keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, don't be rude.
Don't be rude. And again, if there is virtually no line, gauge how it is.
Yeah, read the person that you're talking to, like with any conversation.
Read the surrounding, read the person you're talking to. If the person looks like they're getting annoyed, just go away.
Because sometimes there's no line, but it's also like 10 p.m. and they just want to get out of there.
Yes, exactly. So, read the situation.
Yeah.
But yes, so back to the tip, go there. If you see that celebrity you want to meet is not taking pictures at the table, then you decide, do I want to take the professional photographer or not? Like one year, we wanted to take a picture with Katie Cassidy. She wasn't doing it at the table that year. Thank goodness the next year she did, because I think she learned that she's probably got more attention from the table. Yeah. But, who am I to judge? Let's see. The Artist Alley is where the comic book writers and the artists will be at. Yeah. Same level of busy as the Walk of Fame, but, they're a lot cooler since they're usually not in that particular spotlight.
Right.
So, they'll sign stuff. The lesser known ones will probably sign stuff, no charge. Like, I have a friend who lives in Seattle. She used to live in Puerto Rico, and now she lives in Seattle. Every year she tells me, that I gotta go see this artist. And I remember the first year I went, he has these little photo size works of art. And I was like, hey, could you sign it for her? How much? He's like, I do it for free.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah. But
if you're meeting someone like Peter David,
right? Yeah.
Actually, Peter David actually doesn't mind signing things for free. He does have a jar, however. He's like, I am working, so if you can contribute, please do. If you don't,
because these people are taking time out of their lives and out of their schedule, to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's not like Dragon Con has given them $1 million to sit in
a
chair.
Again, read the situation.
Yeah.
But and again, don't be hurt if the people you like are not very nice to you. Case in point, in the Artist Alley, one year I met Dustin Nguyen, who is an artist who predominantly I like him for Nightwing. Couldn't care less what I thought about his work. Yeah. He just wanted me to pay for an artist's rendering.
Nice.
And it was like, well, am I disappointed? Sure. Oh, well.
And you can probably use the same tips if you meet any of the musicians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again,
So when you go to meet Mark Gunn and Andrew from the Brobdingnagian Bards, be polite, be nice, tell them you heard about it on TeeVo with a Beard.
Yeah. Again, read the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
Because sometimes they might not look busy because you catch them in like that split second when they're about to go do something else.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be mindful of that.
And especially if they are going somewhere else, don't be hurt. They have schedules to do.
Right.
They have panels to do. And sometimes they probably just want a break.
Yeah, sometimes they're tired. They have to run to the bathroom or something. And you're stopping them.
Exactly. Like one year, it was last year, I caught Paul Amos, who was Vex on Lost Girl. He was jetting to the bathroom. He's like, it's okay, I'll be right back. I was like, hey, take your time.
So have you had a lot of experience of meeting any of the celebrities or anything, you know, outside of the Walk of Fame or the photos? Not that we're condoning stalking celebrities.
No, do not do that. That's a big no-no.
Right.
And
but just by chance.
Only once I ran into Amber Benson from Buffy as she was trying to find where a panel was.
Okay.
They're there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're generally staying in the same hotel as you are, just in different floors.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible to see them, but, you know, again, if you see them, you know, read the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, if they look lost and running around, don't stop them for an autograph or to chit chat.
Yeah, help them.
Help them. Yeah, be their hero. You might get an autograph. Who knows?
Well, I told her where the panel was. She took a picture with me.
There you go.
So, Amber Benson, I know you don't remember this at all, but you know, hey, that was still cool. But again, read the situation. Use common sense. They're people just like everybody else there.
Yeah. To kind of backtrack, but
just heavily more paid than you, probably.
Yeah. To kind of backtrack, but keeping with the tips. So when you describe going to a panel for those who haven't been to one.
Right. Let's see. Well, like I said, Dragon Con's all inclusive in that there are no VIP passes. So if you get there first, you will get the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
But they do save the front row for, like, you know, people with, you know, special needs and disabilities and stuff.
Yeah.
So don't be that person that gets mad at that.
Be that person. In fact, if you are that person, stop listening to
everybody will hate you.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally, if you get there first, you're gonna have the best seat. You just sit and enjoy.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. If it's a panel you want to see, just go sit and enjoy.
Because the panels, like you. Using an example of one that you've been to before. Because some people might not even know the term panel.
Okay, well, panel is there are two types of panels. The first one goes with my podcast, you know, thing. There are a lot of fan panels at Dragon Con. Actually, there are more fan panels than, like, the professional panels. Okay. In that they'll have someone who's a fan, and they lead the panel and talk about, say, you know, like S.H.I.E.L.D. or Dr. Horrible or Doctor Who. Okay. But I don't like going to those because, again, I know how I feel about it. Right. I don't necessarily need to know how you feel about it. And
but if you ever want to see what it looks like recording a podcast, basically, it sounds like
actually,
go to one of those.
So, yeah, but again, I know how I feel about Dr. Horrible. I have very specific feelings. I don't know you people, so...
Right, and you're probably not going to change your mind anyway.
At this point, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
So those are not the panels I want to go to. But again, they're there. If you want to do that, please, go. That's what
Support them.
Support them. Support what you just paid for.
Right.
But the panels I like to go to is the professional ones, which there is a theme. People, if you're listening, I think we talked about this before. If there are people in a movie I like, I would generally watch that movie. Right. So again, if you get people I like, I will go support these.
Yeah. So if there's a S.H.I.E.L.D. panel, you're going to the S.H.I.E.L.D. panel.
Yes, like there are Brett Dalton panels. So naturally, I will be there.
Yeah.
There are Daredevil panels with Charlie Cox.
You will be there.
But yeah, professional panels, they have, like, the actor or the writer or the director or just anyone.
Or some combination.
Or the combination. People that are involved with the actual work being discussed. And basically, it's just free for all. If you have a question, please, we're here basically just answer questions. Okay. So, again, go sit and enjoy. If you have a question, please line up. Lines don't get too crazy. Okay. You can usually spot where the line's being formed for questions right when you get in. So if you really do have a question right away, you know, get in line. If not, sometimes you can get in line, you know, in the middle of the panel. Okay. I mean, depending how busy it is, how large it is, you know, you'll probably get your question answered.
Do you think that some of that has to do with the fact that within the geek universe, most of us are introverted people, so they don't necessarily want to go up to the mic and ask questions?
Actually, you know, I've learned.
Or do you see people come out of their shells there?
I don't know. I would say they're out of their shells for that, because a lot of people come out of their shells just in general for the weekend. Okay. So yes and no.
Yeah.
And some people just really have a specific question they want to ask.
Right.
And that's, hey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do that, like I said, if you want to do that, that's great. If not, there's going to be plenty of other people who's going to ask questions.
Yeah, and they might ask your question.
They might ask your question.
Yeah.
Just sit and enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Now, are these panels family friendly?
Yes.
Because I know the con in general is family friendly.
Con in general is family friendly. Obviously, after 9 o'clock, it's not. But then again, read the situation.
Yeah,
common sense.
You shouldn't have your 2-year-old in a con after 9 p.m. I'm
Exactly.
sorry. I'm going to be judgmental there.
I mean, I guess, like, I would say, like, it's not family friendly if the show is not family friendly.
Okay.
So, like, a show like Lost Girl is not generally a family friendly show. Right. So, naturally, the panel is not going to be that family friendly.
Okay.
But, like S.H.I.E.L.D. or something, yeah, sure. The Power Rangers wanted it. By God.
Yeah. But basically, if you're a parent and you have your kid, what it sounds like is sit on an aisle seat. Mm-hmm. So that way, if you are offended by something, you can quietly remove yourself.
Yes.
Don't make a scene about it. Don't,
Yes.
Don't complain on the message boards.
Yeah. You'll do it anyway, but
at least leave quietly.
Yes,
don't make a scene.
Exactly. Let's see. But sometimes awesome things can happen in a panel. There are videos of me on YouTube singing with J. August Richards at various panels he's done.
Nice.
He has dubbed it like our thing now, which is amazing. J. August Richards, you're amazing. Because the first year I went to Dragon Con, I went to a panel. It was him and Amber Benson, so it was a Buffy Angel panel. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have a burning question. I just wanted to say something to him.
Yeah.
But the girl in front of me asked him, what was your favorite TV show growing up? And he said Three's Company. And when I got to the mic, I was like, you know what? I'm singing Three's Company.
Nice.
And he sang along with me. And it was that moment we had.
Yeah.
My question, I don't even remember really my question.
Yeah,
was.
that point didn't even matter.
He answered it regardless.
Yeah.
So he didn't come the next year. He came back in 2014, and I remember. And this is, by then I knew what the Walk of Fame was. So I could have saw him after the panel, but I didn't know what the Walk of Fame was. So as far as I knew, the picture I got with him with a professional photographer in the panel was the only place I knew where to find him.
Yeah.
So jump to 2014. I go to his booth, and I was like, Jay, 2 years ago, Three's Company at the panel. He's like, yes, we are. Are we doing that again? I was like, yeah.
How do you say no? Yeah.
But I was, and he was like, we should sing something different. Right. I was like, okay, pressure. Oh no.
You got to think of every theme song.
Well, yeah. And I don't know, what his whole arsenal of TV shows he watches.
Right.
So I just don't. So the last thing I wanted to was just get up on the mic and sing something that nobody knows.
It's like a musical game of Russian roulette.
It was. So then I stalked his Instagram.
That's where stalking's okay in social media.
I was looking for clues,
right?
And I saw that he has a Flintstones T-shirt. So I'm thinking, well, any self-respecting nerd, you don't own a T-shirt or something you don't know stuff about.
Right? Yeah.
Because that's just
Because somebody's gonna question you about it. They're gonna test you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, and plus it's the Flintstones. Everybody watched the Flintstones at one point.
Right.
It's a kind of a well-known theme song. So I was like, okay, I'll get it. And I got to the mic, and the panel was a S.H.I.E.L.D. panel. It was Amy Acker, Ron Glass, and J. August Richards. And I got to the mic, and I was just like, Jay, should you tell them what they're in for? And he was like, okay, everybody. So for those who weren't here 2 years ago, me and him have this thing now where every Dragon Con I come, we're gonna sing.
Nice.
And I was like, yes. And then I sang the Flintstones theme song, and everybody was like into it.
Yeah.
And he was into it. He was singing along. It was awesome to watch Amy Acker bop to it.
Nice.
And I think Ron Glass just didn't know what I was doing. So he had that awkward smile going on.
Nice.
Of like, what is going on?
Where am I?
Exactly.
And I've seen other videos from like different cons and stuff like that. Yeah. Like Tara Strong is, who is a brilliant voice actress. She will sing with anybody.
Yeah.
It seems. That's not saying that you have to make singing your thing. If you go ask questions, do your own thing.
Yeah, do your own thing.
But it's that politeness that gets you remembered.
Exactly. And I wanted to make something memorable the first time I did it. Mm-hmm. I just, I took that moment. I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah, and obviously it worked.
It worked, and if he comes back, I will have to
You just have to go through his Instagram again.
I will have to search for more clues, but he was a really nice person, and that you get that if you're nice,
right?
Again, be treated how you want to be treated. Does it work all the time? No, but just understand there are people too.
Right. So to wrap up the episode, what are some words of wisdom you have for?
Well, I know this seemed more like my guide, but
I mean, you are you. And
I am me.
That's the only experience you can talk about.
That's
we're not Dragon Con people. We're not sponsored by Dragon Con.
We're not.
We're not sanctioned.
They're not paying us to do this. God, I wish
you're not getting in free.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
But Dragon Con, if you are listening to this and you want to reimburse them for the ticket,
or maybe next year,
next year, get both of us in. Yeah,
just putting that out there.
Yeah,
but I didn't do like an all-inclusive, go-to because, I don't do everything.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said at the beginning, you can do everything you want to almost.
Right.
And it's really up to you.
Have information on the website, on the app.
Yeah, on the app. Mm-hmm. When you get there's a program. I wouldn't put everything into it because they have to print those in advance, and things change rapidly.
I've heard that the app is actually really good as far as their changes go and all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the information gets to you faster. Programs, it's just it's just something to have.
Yeah.
But like I said in last week's episode, the first time I went, I tried to do the cosplay, I tried to do the parade, I tried to do the panels, the guests, and the party. I actually did want to go to one party.
Okay.
Definitely knew that, you know what, I don't like doing this in my regular life.
Yeah.
I don't think I like this now in costume. But
you tried it.
I tried.
So basically, the
thing was that I tried everything, and I did everything, and I knew what I wanted to do when I go to Dragon Con, as opposed to what other people do, and that's perfectly okay. So, one thing I would definitely say, safety first, common sense, and explore. If it's your first year, if you only even have a day pass, just explore. I mean, if it sounds interesting, give it a try.
Right.
And I mean, the worst thing that could happen is it's boring, and then you can leave.
Yeah.
You can leave in the middle of panels.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay.
Just do it politely.
Yes, don't make a scene.
Yeah, we will emphasize that.
And if you feel like you might leave, try to sit towards the back in an aisle, so when you dart out, it's not that obvious.
Yeah. And leave during like a loud applause or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. There are certain panels that are in like tiny rooms, so that's just gonna be awkward anyway. So just get over it.
Yeah.
If you would leave, of course. I mean, if you like it, of course, please stay.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave with the ones you like.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Exactly. So yeah, just if you go explore, do what you want to do. And I know people like my cousin who is not like a nerd at all or anything, but he goes just because of the festivities, and it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's not just for geeky nerds; it's really for everybody. I know people who take their families. I know people who cosplay with their kids.
Right,
it's awesome. So yeah,
and if you do go, like us on Facebook, share pictures and your thoughts and stuff like that for Dragon Con, especially if it's your first time going. Yeah. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if TeeVo helped you out any. Let us know if you meet TeeVo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Extra points if you take a picture with them.
Actually, it's too bad because usually on my Dragon Con badge you have your actual name, where you're from, and your nickname.
Okay.
The last 3 years I've been going as TeeVo, but this year I wanted. Actually, no, scratch that. Last year I went as John Stamos ×3.
Nice.
I don't know why.
That's nice.
It just, they ask you what you want, and I'm like, I just thought it was the silliest thing.
Why not?
This year, you can find me as Balls Deep in Coulson.
Nice.
Or with Coulson. I don't know.
Either way, yeah.
With a Z.
Okay.
With a Z. In or with, I don't know. But
yeah.
But that will be on my badge.
So if you find Balls Deep with Coulson or in Coulson or somewhere around Coulson.
Actually, you know what? I love that Brett Dalton's coming. I can't wait to show him that. I just now thought of that.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you.
He might give you a free picture with that.
I've gotten free pictures. Again, recapping that one little bit, if you're nice, sometimes they'll just, they'll kind of hang out with you.
Yeah.
And they'll put you on their own social media. Like last year, BJ Bread, who played Trip on S.H.I.E.L.D., took an extra picture of me and put it on his Instagram.
Yeah. So basically...
But granted, I had a shirt that said, I love Clark Gregg, so he just wanted to get a memento.
He wanted the picture of the shirt.
Yeah, but still.
You just happen to be in the shirt.
Still,
at the time.
you know, just stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. So basically, the three main things is be safe.
Yeah.
Be polite.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah.
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 And like a 3B would be like, bring money. You don't have to bring a ton of money, but if you want souvenirs, if you have to have a picture with a certain person, cash.
Yeah. The ATMs in there will rip you off, and the Wi-Fi / data in there is terrible. So
because you have so many people trying to use it.
Exactly. They might have the little square thing, but sometimes those things don't work because of where they're at. So
also, if you bring cash, you can tip the artists and stuff like that when you go down Artist Alley.
Exactly. But that is all I have to say. I will go get ready for work and subsequently, start packing for Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Because it's in a few days.
Yeah, and then not next week, but the week after, we'll hear all about it there, get the full recap, and
we might even bring that guy we call Mike.
Yeah.
We're not for Dragon Con, but I think for if you want to know about Don't Breathe.
Right, yeah.
Because apparently he tells me he's going to see it, so we're going to test him on that.
Yeah. We will have, a full quiz for him. It won't be open book or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But until next time, see you later.